My name is Brandon Gailey, and welcome to episode number 14 of The Blog Millionaire. Today, I'm going to be sharing my Pinterest rich pin strategy that gets me 4,000 daily visitors from Pinterest to my blog. For almost a year, like most bloggers, I checked the box when it came to promoting pins on Pinterest. 3 times a week, I would pin an infographic from a post, and then I would move on with the rest of my week. There was no real strategy in place. I was just participating at the bare minimum and not getting much traffic in return. Then one day, while browsing through an industry blog, I found out about Pinterest rich pins. It sounded interesting and easy to add to my blog, so I took about 10 minutes to implement it. A week later, I went to review my analytics in Pinterest to see if the change had made any difference at all. What I saw completely shocked me. My daily referral traffic from Pinterest had jumped from 100 to 800. I was still plodding along with my 3 pins per week, but the rich pins integration had supercharged the 400 pins that I had made over the past couple of years. I will break down exactly how rich pins did this later on in the article. But let me move on with the story. At this point, I started to take Pinterest seriously and spent a few weeks researching what the top pinners were doing to drive traffic to their websites. I found several techniques that looked promising, but one in particular stood out. The strategy was very simple, and it was something that I could easily apply to the 1,000 plus posts that I never got around to pinning. For the last 4 months, I have spent about 4 hours a week executing this strategy. The results from those 4 hours a week have been off the chart. The referral traffic to my site from Pinterest is now, wait for it, over 4,000 daily visitors. We are talking about 100,000 visitors a month from Pinterest. Now that is something that I can get excited about. Before I go into details about how you can replicate the same strategy with your blog post, let's take a look at why Pinterest is literally 730 times better than the traffic from the other major social media players. A post that gets shared on Facebook has an average shelf life of 3 to 24 hours. That means 24 hours after you share a post on Facebook, you are done getting referral traffic. The half-life of a Pinterest pin is 105 days. Over 40% of the traffic that comes from a pin occurs between month 4 and month 24. Almost 2 years after you pin your blog post, it is still producing referral traffic. Pinterest traffic does not even look like social media traffic. It actually resembles search engine traffic. The reason for this is because most of the long-term traffic that is driven is by user searches within Pinterest. People go to Facebook and Twitter to look at their news feeds. Pinterest users spend most of their time performing searches on Pinterest. Since Pinterest is more like Google, that means your strategy needs to be more SEO than social. Okay, let's move on to breaking down how Rich Pins works and why it produced a huge increase in referral traffic to my blog. You may be asking yourself right now, what are rich pins? A rich pin is essentially a pin that has extra information on it. There are 6 types of rich pins in Pinterest, which are apps, movies, recipes, products, places, and articles. I'm not going to give you a tutorial on all 6 types because I only use rich pins for articles, and that is where all of my traffic comes from. Now keep in mind, on the show notes page at theblogmillionaire.com/14, you'll be able to see visual examples that I'm going to be talking about here, so it makes a little bit more sense if you go on over there and look at these examples once you're done listening to this show. Whenever you compare a rich pin to a pin that isn't a rich pin, you're going to see 2 things that stand out the most. These 2 identifiers that stand out are the brand mention and the enlarged bold title. Both of these make pins stand out from the rest of the pins that are on the feed. In addition, it has a positive impact on the overall click-through rate because it makes your pin stand out from the ones that aren't using rich pins. When you look at a pin that's not using rich pins, you're going to see that there's no big bold title and there's no brand mention. The power of the rich pin for bloggers is that it automatically pulls the exact title that you chose for the post of the title for your pin. This is going to happen no matter who pins your post. The reason why my daily Pinterest referral traffic jumped from 100 to 800 is because hundreds of my posts were previously pinned by other people using their own subpar title. When Rich Pins was applied to all of these pins, the pin titles were updated to reflect the post titles that I had created myself. Since I optimized every post title for a specific keyword phrase, now all of these past pins by other people were now optimized for Pinterest search for specific keywords. The takeaway here is that rich pins will have the biggest effect on blogs that have titles that are optimized for specific keyword phrases. If your blog gets a good amount of organic Google traffic, then the rich pin implementation will give you a similar boost in your overall traffic. Now let me give you a quick tutorial on how to set up rich pins on a WordPress site. The first step that you're going to do is enable the open graph data on the Yoast SEO plugin. If you don't have the Yoast SEO plugin, then you're going to want to download that first. Once you do that, you'll open it up and go to the social tab within the Yoast SEO plugin. And there'll be a checkbox that'll allow you to enable open graph metadata. Once you do that, you're going to go on over to Pinterest where they have the Rich Pins Validator, and you'll input the URL of your website or the URL of the blog post. Then you'll hit the validate button, and at that point, you'll wait about 7 to 10 days before Pinterest will approve you for rich pins, and then everything's going to update automatically, and you never have to do anything else again. If you need to get the link for the Rich Pins Validator on Pinterest and see the step-by-step process that I just talked about, then go over to the show notes post at theblogmillionaire.com/14. Now comes the fun part. I'm going to talk about how I searched for gold in my Pinterest analytics data and found it. Once I saw the big increase in Pinterest traffic coming from rich pins, it made me look a little deeper to see if there was any way to make these numbers go even higher. On top of having the highest quality and longest lasting traffic, Pinterest also has the best analytics of any social media channel. It is easy to understand, and it breaks down all the key statistics that really matter. In Pinterest analytics, there are 3 distinct sections. The first section is called your Pinterest profile. This shows you everything that is being generated from the pins you are adding through your own profile. The next section is called your audience. This section breaks down your audience by country, metro area, language, and gender. And then the third section is called activity from your website. The stats on every pin associated with your blog are in this section. This will include pins made by you and pins also made by your audience. I personally spend most of my time looking at the analytics in the activity from your website section. This gives me the global view of the referral traffic that is being driven to my blog from Pinterest. On top of the general statistics, it lists out the top 50 pins that are generated from the most referral traffic in the last 30 days. While I was looking through this section, I noticed something that stood out. There were 6 pins that were driving a ridiculous amount of referral traffic to my blog. Each of the pins were using an image that had text on it. Specifically, it was a simple background picture paired with the title of the post overlaid on top of the background. This is what's called a textual title overlay image. And if you look through your own Pinterest feed, you'll see other people using the same strategy. They'll take the title of their blog post and turn it into an image. Sometimes they'll use a stock photography. Sometimes it'll just be on a basic background. Since I had over 1,000 posts that I needed to make custom textual overlay graphics for, I decided to keep my template really simple. This made it easy to knock out about 10 to 15 every day, and I didn't have to spend a lot of money on stock images. I was able to accomplish this by using a free template through canva.com. Once I had the template set up, then I would just change the background color and add the new title for that specific post. Now keep in mind, the best practice is to use a cool and cute related photograph in the background, but as I said before, there were over 1,000 older blog posts that I needed to do this for. I made a judgment call to save money and time by using just text on a flat color background. A few points to remember about images in regards to Pinterest. Tall rectangles work the best. 735 pixels wide by 1102 pixels tall is the ideal size for an image on Pinterest. The second thing to notice is to make your text big and bold. Look at your pins in that Pinterest feed to see how easy it is to read the title of your image. Your image will be resized for the feed and for mobile. The title needs to be legible in both. And the third point to remember is to use contrasting colors for the title and the background. Keep your text white and use dark colors for the image background. Exactly 4 months ago, I started investing 4 hours a week pinning my old blog post to Pinterest. For each post, I created a custom image using my Canva template that highlighted the title of each post. Then I would pin the titled image for that specific blog post. On average, 4 hours of work allowed me to pin 50 blog posts a week. 90% of the time was spent creating the image, and the other time was spent pinning the post. In just under 120 days after initiating this strategy, my daily Pinterest referral traffic passed 4,000 clicks. Now let's do a quick review of my Pinterest strategy. Number 1, recognize that Pinterest is more like Google than social. The big money is in the residual traffic from Pinterest search, not in the news feed of your followers. Number 2, rich pins makes your post stand out and ensures your blog post title will be used for every single pin. Most of my visitors were writing their own title down when they pinned my post. These were not optimized for Pinterest search, and that's why I had that big jump when I changed to rich pins. Number 3, a tall rectangular image with a textual title overlaid drives the most referral traffic. You can use free templates in Canva to crank out this style of image for all of your blog posts, the new ones and the old ones. And number 4, go back and pin all of your past posts that have not been pinned yet. Since I was only occasionally pinning my post, I had over 1,000 blog posts that were not showing up in Pinterest search because they have never been pinned before. Since Pinterest is a hyper-visual social network, I highly recommend that you take a moment to go to the show notes post at theblogmillionaire.com/14 so that you can see all the visual examples of exactly how to create the image that's going to drive the referral traffic. Because if you don't get the image right, you're not going to get people to click out to your website. As with most marketing, the success of this strategy is tied directly to the title of the blog post. If my blog post did not have great keyword-rich titles, then I would still be getting only 100 clicks a day from Pinterest. Always remember to take the time to craft compelling keyword-rich titles for every post that you make. Before you move on over to the show notes post to check out the examples, be sure to click the subscribe button so that you don't miss any future episodes of The Blog Millionaire. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode, and I'll catch you on the next one.